mountain at the hall back in town. Sure beats Hollywood when the sun goes down. Say what you like about the silver screen, Mama Nature paints a finer scene here on old Tabernacle ground. Tilt of the earth, none to blame, and the rocky bones make a sturdy frame. Or a canvas filled with flowing shades, a masterpiece of gleaming fame, can't hold a candle to a flame. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show. Starts most days at 20 past 4. The sun goes down, the hills light up, so fill your bowl and raise your cup. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show. Introduce you to the people here. When the rivers rise, don't show their fear. Too busy trudging down the road to help a neighbor lift the load. Black and white, straight and queer. Farmers and the builders help to grow what the brewers and the artists we all know. Freedom and unity, bound by necessity. Boiled down a warm ember glow comes the bridge. And my heart wakes up with the shine on the mountain. My mind slows down in the valley shade. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show. Starts most days at 20 past 4. Sun goes down, the hills light up, so fill your bowl and raise your cup. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show. Take it, boys. Black circle crowned with silver light. Mind's eye cannot forget the sight. Friends and neighbors on the ground, looking up you could see the sound. Day tried on the cloak of night. Here we go. My heart wakes up with the shine on the mountain. My mind slows down in the valley shade. My heart wakes up with the shine on the mountain. My mind slows down in the valley shade. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show. Starts most days at 20 past 4. The sun goes down, the hills light up, so fill your bowl and raise your cup. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show. Welcome to the Green Mountain Light Show.
This song is called Capsize.
Sweet.
Mast of his boat goes right through the middle of his table. The crew, they gather round over the keel, which helps to keep the boat stable. Manning the rudder and minding the sail, the captain show they're capable. Tales are measured by the age of the sea, and our desires insatiable. Capsize your boat, flip me back over, climb back on board. The wind is your motor, the sailor finds himself once again underway. All in due time, we'll follow winds and tides. Short story and long laughs will keep in high supply. We'll We'll make it on the news. We need be the weather report for making memories. A port to restock and set our feet upon the dock. Capsize your boat, flip me back over, climb back aboard. The wind is your motor, always at the mercy of the sea and her wonderful whims. Grab the helm again, don't mind the sail waving. Trim them up a bit and just keep the bow straight. The sailor found himself once again underway. Common tropes, storms in the sea won't help you sail when it's 20 feet. The only pearl you'll find is off the port and starboard side. Ending up in irons can be a frustrating thing. Don't blame the crew, the mode of the leak. Just tighten up a sheet and get around to close reach. Capsize your boat, flip me back over, climb back aboard. The wind is your motor, the sailor find himself once again underway. Cruising along on a really nice clip, you look around and the crew is stoked. Seems your planet has harvested the wind, and now you're holding on to this rope. Feel as the boat heels in the wind, just lean back, all in the groove. But you know when that boom hits the water, all hands really gonna have to move. Capsize your boat, flip it back over, climb back aboard. The wind is your motor, the sailor find himself once again underway. Capsize your boat, flip it back over, climb back aboard. The wind is your motor, the sailor find himself once again underway. That's right. And the sailor find himself once again underway. Alright, that's right. The sailor find himself once again underway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, welcome to episode number 36. And it's an interesting start to this episode, I have to say. First of all, Dan and Ray, thank you guys for joining me from RambleTree. Because normally I'm in control when it comes to getting here, prepping, and everything. But Dan actually became a lifesaver today because in the world of being an adult and a human being, car troubles present always. So you saved me from Rutland today after I went up there. Thank you, sir. That's how I'm introducing this episode right here. So, yeah. And great tunes, by the way. This is our second time meeting each other, but you guys have known each other for years. Is that correct? We kind of chat a little bit on that in the car, right? So
yeah, I moved here in 2013. I think we started jamming
right around then.
Right? Yeah, because I think we went
Jersey
to,
guy.
Yeah, we went to
Jersey
Center
guy.
Street open mic, right? I think that's where we might have
Is that
connected.
where we first met? Yeah.
Yeah,
The alley.
with Steve Audsley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Steve.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Rest in peace,
So then-
brother.
Yeah.
Love Steve.
And then I think I had a gig at Jack's, and you
Yep.
came and jammed, and I don't even think we hung out. We didn't
No, I think yeah, we had met probably at Center Street, and we also happened to live right a block
around
away
Stone's
from each
throw
other
away from
In
each
Rutland.
other.
in Rutland, yeah. And then I think we connected on Craigslist or something.
Oh, jeez.
yeah.
Back in
I
the
put
day.
out a thing looking for
Yes,
looking for
indeed.
folky people to do Irish and folky stuff.
Looking for a guy that wears a hat, smiles, plays 6 strings. Yeah.
Can drive a car when my car breaks down.
Yeah, when my car breaks down. Well played, sir. Well played.
So we started jamming, and then I think our first gig was at Taps
Yeah,
Tavern in Pulteney.
Oh, I've heard of that place. Are they still around?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
cool.
Pulteney pub.
They
now.
doing music still there and everything.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
It's
Bluegrass.
it's a cool place. Yeah.
I think they do a bluegrass thing still on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. the late great Steve Audsley, he did both Center Street and Killarney's for years, right? Those were both his places.
I think so.
I know he was primarily Killarney's. Yeah. Shout out to all these places, by the way.
Yeah, big time. I know. Yeah, seriously.
You're going to Killarney's later tonight with Gypsy Reel.
That's right. Open Irish session.
Open Irish sessions, yeah. So, did you guys? I mean, in general, you've probably been performing musicians like well before meeting and open mic sessions. But have you got a lot out of open mics, especially up here in Vermont, like connecting with people and?
Yeah, for sure,
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's like, if anything, it just keeps the juices flowing, you know. And you're like, I play out probably 20% of what he does, just because of life and stuff like that.
You got a day job too?
Yeah, I have a t-shirt company.
T-shirt company, that's right.
Celtic art,
yeah,
RambleTree. So RambleTree is a band and also a brand, t-shirt brand, Celtic art.
T-shirt brand.
But the band name is a whole other story. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
have you always primarily played Celtic music and bluegrass? Has that been like
not so much bluegrass, but bluegrass is so closely related to
Irish and Celtic,
Irish and
right.
folk music. But yeah, so I got into music in the seacoast of New Hampshire area.
Okay.
And also like Boston and Gloucester and southern Maine.
It's a place to be.
Irish music and maritime music, so like sea shanties and all that kind of stuff too.
Right. Did you ever see the Dropkick Murphys live?
I have not seen them live, but they rock, and they've done a lot to bring interest to Irish music that otherwise people wouldn't have been interested in. So.
Yeah, that's great. Now, have either of you been to Ireland before? Have you traveled?
I've never been.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to. That's a bucket list. I want to go out there.
Yeah.
You gotta go. Yeah.
I think it's like 14 hours by plane or something like that.
No. It's
you're going into the jet stream, so.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 hours actually. It's not too bad. I went to Ireland in 2000, and I got to go with the late great Tommy Makem of Clancy Brothers and Tommy Makem. They're a big part of the folk revival Greenwich Village scene. Mm-hmm. So they were huge in America, while bands like the Dubliners and the Chieftains were big in Ireland at the time. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this guy Tommy Makem had a huge career, settled down in New Hampshire to raise his family, where I met him, and he was leading the song school trip to his hometown in County Armagh in the north of Ireland.
That's fantastic.
So I went there. It was like a 2-week thing. It's called the Tommy Makem International School of Song. So it was festivals, workshops, ceilidhs, which is like group dancing, set dancing, and lectures and sessions till 2 a.m. in the pub. And,
sure, yeah.
And I'd only been playing the Boweron for a couple of years at that point, and then I was hooked.
Yeah, I've seen what the Irish sessions bring at Killarney's with Gypsy Reel. It's pretty remarkable, the sounds and the type of music you all create. Whether it's 2 people or sometimes 13, like you can pack so many in like one session. But when did RambleTree first begin? When did you guys form as the group?
Yeah, so it started out as the County Down, which was when I went to Ireland. I went to Armagh. The next county over is Down, and there's a great song called "Star of the County Down." That was sort of our like signature song. Still is, you know. And so we named the band the County Down because it sounds kind of like rootsy and bluesy and cool.
Yeah,
it's also the name of a county in the north of Ireland.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. We put together that Taps gig, Irish Night.
Yep, an Irish night. Yeah.
And how much Irish music you think altogether you have to cover anywhere between like 2 or 3 hours? Like how many songs, like roughly, would you say?
Oh, we know a lot of songs.
Yeah.
We play a lot of songs because then, sometimes we'll play at the Killington Irish Festival at Summit Lodge.
Oh yeah.
And we'll play for 6 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
We'll repeat like some mega classics or something.
Is that taking the K1 gondola up to the top?
No. The Summit Lodge above the Foundry.
Oh, above the Foundry. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Peak Lodge. I'm sorry.
O'Dwyer's Public House inside the Summit Lodge, which is up there on Summit Boulevard, I guess, right? In Summit Ave. And so we play for a long time.
Yeah.
So really
and like Irish music is really only kind of half of what we do too. Like that's the kind of the cool thing. You have like Irish traditional music, which was all like strict melody fiddle tunes.
Sure. Yeah.
And then
violin, fiddle,
then you have like Irish folk music and pub music, which is all like the whiskey in the jar, and so we do all of that. But also, one of the things I love playing about Dan is he has this huge repertoire of like, well, tell us about your repertoire,
Dan, I was about to say, how many years full time have you been primarily as a musician?
I started in '99.
Yeah, between Jersey and Vermont, like when you met.
Yeah. So then I did get some office jobs and things like that for a little while, but then
you dipped into the corporate field for a little while. Yeah,
decided that this was the way to go. But what's really cool about the Irish music, and then music that we would play, like it's just so interesting to see how the crowd reacts to these Irish tunes, because there's specific clapping parts, there's specific call and response parts, and like that stuff is so awesome. And it's just to see the reaction. But again, just leaning on the bluegrass connection, things like that. There's a lot of Grateful Dead songs that fit. The
for
mold,
sure.
You know what I mean? So we
were just talking about the Phil Lesh nights from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we do Uncle John's Band, and we do Dark Hollow and Jackaro's
a great song.
And, Jerry's covered Whiskey in a Jar,
and Ripple, Friend of the Devil.
Yeah, so we pull all those out. We pull out like all kinds of Van Morrison. He's an Irish fella, and then anything else. We play. When the Irish girls come over from Ireland to work for the bar, they love Country Roads. Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, Wagon Wheel, of course.
So all that stuff works. And then when you're in that environment, it's just like, everybody singing along.
Oh, absolutely,
It's a beautiful thing.
Well, that leads to a good point, because you've and again, we're only meeting like the second time. Like we did a gig, the spring party out on the Superstar Umbrella Bar deck with Nick, Reese, Chris Paluto. Shout out to all of our hustling, hardworking guys, guitar slingers from up that way. Liz Reedy also as well too. But dude, you're phenomenal with reading the room. So that's got to be like 95% of the battle as far as, like you mentioned on the car ride over here, you're like, I need these gigs where I got to get closer to the bar and really get a pulse like for what these people are doing.
You need to, exactly. It helps if they're have access to them.
But not every night is the same in regards to how you're feeling, how they're feeling. I mean, you could be playing all the home run songs and then the cats meow and it's still like, barely get a clap on it. It's
that happens. But usually we
riding the wave.
Yeah, we try to pull it out of them.
It's part of the adventure.
What would you say as far as like the heavy hitters, as far as like the classics people love, like the Irish tunes? Like, what is your favorite mentally? Going into a show, like, all right, I've got 4 hours to do my usual thing, do my show. Whether I'm writing a set list or just piecing it all together mentally. What is like your favorite go-to cover guy to do?
In this capacity, we've been doing a song called The Wellerman. I don't know if it's a sea
Who wrote that?
shanty.
It's a traditional shanty.
Yeah, and it's just awesome because it's more like there's actually in the recordings there's not really guitar, so I had to basically come up with the guitar part for it. You know what I mean? Which is fun though, because then,
like you said, adding the texture, right? Like,
exactly. And just the drive of the song is just so cool. So I love that one. And then that was like a TikTok song or something, right? So
in the pandemic,
TikTok.
This random song, you'll see like all these people singing it. You know what I mean? It was like I never even heard a song before, but
it was like a Scottish guy doing a New Zealand sea shanty or something.
So do you guys remember that old song from way back in the day? And again, I'm bringing this up because of like the power of TikTok and social media, which we'll get into the component of social media and all that other stuff. There's this one video of like a guy who's entering like a corporate job, or like his shift is just about over, and he's dancing and he's like acting like a big shot, like he's just dancing like this is me, and it's that song ooh wee mak de bob I guess better than the guy's like I swear to God, my girlfriend Erica and we were just addicted to those reels forever on TikTok for like months.
Some of them are gold, and if they make me laugh, then I guess I don't mind scrolling through 5 to 7 of them if one makes me laugh, because
There was one recently. We're talking about Irish stuff, and God, I don't mind swearing every once in a while. In general, I keep most of this like clean, obviously, on the podcast. But that new army tank looking Volkswagen car, like that, it looks like the Pentagon or like the Octagon that's like driving around. Have you seen those things? Yeah, it's so funny. But I think it's Joe Pesci or somebody that's just staring out into the abyss or whatever that scene is, and that car just drive by and he's just like, what in the F is this piece of S?
I haven't seen it, but I can see his facial expression.
Yeah.
Like,
And so every time I see that car like driving around here in Vermont, I'm just like, what in the? Oh goodness. But anyways, what's new coming up on the horizon? I know you mentioned you guys are going to have a couple shows lined up at a local place in Ludlow, Off the Rails, right? I'm going to be.
Well, I'm actually.
You're gonna.
I'm playing there. I'm playing there.
You're gonna be there. Yeah.
So I have to say that like we'll start the Summit Lodge. We do every Saturday there all winter long. So,
right.
O'Dwyer's.
At O'Dwyer's Public House. You know what I mean?
I was about to say it's not McGrath, right? Or that's the Inn at Long Trail, right?
Yeah,
that's
Long
right.
Trail.
Okay, yeah.
Another great Irish bar.
I'm getting my places in
is,
order.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And those guys, they're buds. They're really good buds.
Right. What's the time for those gigs?
What do we do? Usually 7 to 10, 6 to
6
11.
to 9, 6 to 5 to 1 in the morning. Yeah.
Because you usually have your après gigs.
Yeah.
In like a various base lodges.
Yeah, at a lodge, or
Yeah.
sometimes I pull Reagh in, and we'll do a RambleTree show at a
Yeah.
gig or something.
So that's the thing too, is like Dan does a ton solo and with other bands, and
whoever calls him
during the summer. You've got bands you play with.
Shout out to Matty Bigelow, by the way, up at Killington. Shout out to
thanks.
yeah. We do a lot of shout outs, so give as many shout outs as you want throughout the course of the episode.
Sure.
So,
That's a big one we love.
Yeah, but is the crowd turnout very good for those sessions?
For the O'Dwyer's?
Yeah, for O'Dwyer's.
Yeah, we have a lot of regulars.
Yeah.
Who we love them, and they come back year after year, and they're the people who are sitting there singing along and getting everyone else, or they kind of just sit and hide and be like, we know this one
on TikTok as we're looking on TikTok. Yeah.
And then they're often great international crowd there. A lot of because they have a lot of Irish staff, and
sure.
They sell a lot of Guinness, so the Guinness lines are always nice and
And do they have you specifically for St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, for the Killington Irish Festival,
or as like one of many groups, probably. Right.
Yeah, we kind of we kind of hold it down in the pub each night of the festival, and then they have our friends Loose Monkeys have played in the afternoon. Liz actually played last year.
Oh, nice.
Which was great, and. Footwork's a great Cape Breton style band, which is kind of like Irish, Scottish, Canadian music. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Extra Stout, Marcos,
Marcos,
all those guys.
And then they have dancers, like a whole dancing school from Ireland. That comes
wow!
over. So they'll do in between our sets and throughout the day and the night, they'll do dancing sets.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, it's just awesome. Man.
Yeah,
it's just really.
The owner is from County Kildare in Ireland, and his sister, Tracy, runs a dance school in Ireland. So they fly a bunch of dancers and their parents over, and we just have a big, crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It's really
in general, Killington has no shortage of ideas on how to throw a party. As we know from the Beasts of the East, from all the years we know from playing there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I have to ask, because my Irish history and stuff is very limited as far as like knowledge wise, but because they lump this world famous band into that category, have any of you seen U2 live or are fans of U2?
I've never seen U2 live.
I haven't seen them live.
I'd like to, though.
They're fun.
I would do it.
They're fun.
Yeah.
I want to see them at the Sphere.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a great segue, because that just seems like the type of venue where only residencies can happen because it's such a cool venue.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we can't just play one show here. We have to play like 15.
Yeah. Once you're set up, once you're in there and plugged in, I
thought it was funny because I'm a big fan of U2, but going back to like what you see on the internet, like skits and stuff, I love the skit that Drew Carey talked about one time. He was comparing Fish's performances at the Sphere that happened like after U2, and he goes, Fish makes U2 look like an average bar band, like at best. Yeah. And but he never seen Fish live. Like I've seen Fish. Fish is incredible. And they've made a major bounce back since their breakup like 20 years ago. And they're older now, and they're healthier. They're in great shape. But yeah, just hearing Drew Carey go, the lights and the bass in your seats, and so I would love to go see like a show there. Yeah,
I love it.
But
that's really what we like about the O'Dwyer's too, and I will compare it to the Sphere, and I don't even care, but it is that immersive experience. Like you seriously you go down into the O'Dwyer's Public House, and it is, number one, it's a hidden gem. So people go down there and they're just like, wow.
What
And
is
then-
this place?
Yeah, and then the whole place is just going crazy, singing and clapping and stomping, and it's like really cool. You know, you really feel a part of it.
Yeah. Switching gears mentally to if you're a fan going to see one of your favorite bands, what is the coolest live venue that you guys have seen the show?
Ooh, you go first. I'll think about it.
The coolest, probably Atlantic City. I saw Fish on the beach in Atlantic City.
Did you? Yeah. When?
It was 2 summers ago, and it was just so incredible.
Yeah.
It was just.
Did they have any special guests, or it was just the 4 of them?
I think it was just them. I don't think they had an opener. If they did, I didn't make it for them.
Yeah.
And then, but it was just awesome because you saw, you know, Atlantic City collide with Fish fans.
Yeah.
So.
But I imagine they played there from years ago, right? They probably did.
Oh yeah, they definitely played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just that's a special one because then you get the boardwalk as the main artery of travel for everybody, and you know, it's pretty cool, and I recommend it.
I think I heard that I think it wasn't Fish, but it was the Trey Anastasio band that played down there a couple of months ago, and it was opening up for or a day before Bruce Springsteen headlined down at Asbury. Oh, it was Asbury Park. Sorry, but Bruce brought Trey out on stage, like playing with him. So huge year for Trey Anastasio between sitting in with Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden of all places, also too. So wicked cool. Yeah, no, really, it is. But anyways, what's been your favorite venue?
Oh, can I do 2?
Sure. So now he's got to give a second one also too.
So like Madison Square Garden. It was this year. It was probably like 20 years ago. I was a metalhead before I got into folk music.
Tool, for example, or just
even like more earlier than that. So this show was Motorhead.
Oh yeah,
Dio,
Lemmy on bass, right?
And Ronnie James Dio and Black Sabbath with Ozzy. It was like the reunion tour.
Oh, okay.
So all those 3, like, you know, Ronnie James Dio died a few years ago. Lemmy
died a couple of years ago.
So that was just amazing to have seen all those 3 bands in this huge room. I think there are a bunch of metal shows that blur together. Maiden, you know.
But anyways, you ever see Dream Theater? I spent a lot of years listening to them.
I think they opened for Maiden one time when I saw them.
Portnoy, phenomenal drummer, man. Unbelievable.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
But as far as the Irish world goes, my favorite venue is O'Dwyer's Public House. Seeing Dan play next to me,
and this guy Ray,
No, but there's one of the like, I don't know, pillars of contemporary Irish music is Solas and Seamus Egan. He happens to live, you know. Actually, I'm not going to say that because then everyone will come looking for him. But he's in Vermont, and Solas is this huge band. He co-wrote, what's that Sarah McLachlan song? I feel silly for not thinking of it. It might be
I Will an Angel?
No, it might be like I Will Remember You or something like that.
That
I think he co-wrote that.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's a monster at you know, banjo, Irish tenor banjo, flute, you know, melodic fingerstyle guitar, and steeped in the Irish traditional music world. And so Solas is doing a reunion tour. I think it's 20 years, 30 years, something like that. But they're going to be coming through Vermont. I saw them play at the Portsmouth Music Hall in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Okay. Yep.
Like 20 years ago. And that was a really cool venue. It's kind of similar to like the Paramount or the Flynn. Like,
sure, yeah. Or the Lebanon Opera House and Lebanon. Yeah, that's cool. Can you play other instruments like banjo and guitar?
I play the bowron and djembe, and I sing.
And you sing,
that's
okay.
My main things.
Yeah. I know that you can play bass just because you got feel and the feeling and everything. But do you dabble in other instruments like mandolin and banjo?
Yeah, I can play. You know, I can usually get through and solo with a mando or a banjo. Some of the recordings that we've had have had banjo and ukulele. You know what I mean?
Melodica.
Yeah, melodica. Yeah, I can play a little bit of piano, but that's way down the list of my instruments.
Yeah. Did you find piano harder to learn than guitar, or vice versa, or roughly about the same?
We always had a piano around, so I was always kind of plunking at it.
Yeah.
But once I saw once I actually saw the connection and I saw the staff.
Yeah.
Because that was not until
Can you sight read?
my adult life when I saw the staff on the it's right there.
Yeah.
I cannot sight read. No, sir. No.
Yeah.
I can read very slowly, and if I need to, like
you got ears.
true guitar style. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've definitely, I really love playing live music for a living, because then now I've just devoted my life to study. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So sure, it's fun to play and be a professional, but like the reason I wanted to play is so I could play every single day and learn and get better.
When we were chatting in the car, I wanted to bring up what you've gained from both of you from a perspective of doing this a little bit longer than me, and you've been a hustler for a long time, but just like there's got to be a definite confident and comfort level after so many years based on like overall experience and like putting in the hours, right? I would imagine, like regardless of what the audience is going to be or how you're feeling, sometimes you still have I got this. This is and
it wasn't always like that. I think that the more gigs you have, the more you get nervous about. Which nervous, you would hope, leads to preparation and practice.
Preparation, what's that? Practice?
Yeah,
what's
practice.
That?
And so then after a while, then you're like, okay, well this situation is gonna be great because it's gonna remind me of this, which I
this oil leak on my car is going to feel better than the next one.
Yeah. And then there's that stuff too. It's not all parties and you know what I mean.
There's the business side of
like
things
that.
now.
You know
That's
what I
what
mean?
we're talking about.
So every once in a while there's like real life stuff in there that injects itself, and you're like, oh yeah, I got to go to a bar right now and put my smile on, but really I'm thinking like, this car is going to cost me, like, you know what I mean? So there's that whole thing of the where mental, you're like, you become a character, but you really have to, it's different.
Then you throw a significant other and kids and all that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, my kids
what are you guys talking about?
Yeah. I have no kids. Yeah. Do either of them play music yet? I forgot to ask you this on the way down.
Yeah, they've been taking lessons. They take lessons with John Lyons, who's just a tremendous teacher. Big shout out to John Lyons in Rutland. He's taught, everybody in Rutland. And so, yeah, they've taken some lessons. And how about your kids? Your guys?
Well, it's funny. Your son, Danny, has gotten up and sang with us a handful of times, which is really fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And my kiddos, Salia has taken voice lessons with a great Jen Allred. She's in Bristol. She's hugely involved in like the local sort of music theater stuff and teaches. Oren has taken flute through the school, through like the band program.
Oh, that's awesome.
And but they both have like just being around the music and going out in these small venues where you're in close contact with the music. What I've noticed is they've developed really good ears. Mm-hmm. So when they hum along, they're right there.
Are you both as dads like giving them kind of free range and free will to figure out if they want to pursue this like what we are, or are you like, oh, you should definitely take a lesson, or you just kind of go with the flow on it?
It's tough.
Yeah, I'm sure it can be. Again, I have no experience, but I'm just like, you got some that are like, well, we don't want to be the biggest influences on them, but we're like kind of like let them figure out, or
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we really pressured them, they wouldn't have any fun. Mm-hmm. We're just so yeah, I try to take their lead, and then I just try to leave like instruments around, so they can just pick at, or when they were small, they just would break them or whatever. But at least they were there, and I think that's like, that's
just get them the orange plastic guitar with like the fake nylon strings, and they could just rip them off.
But yeah, like Ray said, like my son Danny, we've been really liking Tyler Childers lately, so he's been singing Feathered Indians. He loves that song, and and then my son Riley, he's just like, I know, just same thing. It's like, I know they're listening because they'll sing songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that we, even 100-year-old Irish songs.
Yeah. You guys will be at home on the internet drafting your next Facebook or Instagram posts of like when we're playing at like McGrath's or McDwyer's or whatever, and then all of a sudden in the other living room an instrument gets picked up and it's out of key, but the kid is playing it. You're like, yes.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Baby steps. Yes.
Absolutely.
Have either of you guys been a fan or have seen Mumford and Sons or the Lumineers?
Oh yeah.
I've not seen them live.
I haven't seen them either. We
we've
do a couple covers of both of those.
Yeah, because I think like very kind of similar sound with the instrument and everything. And I bring up the Lumineers. I saw them open for U2 in 2017 in Philadelphia. Monstrous show, dude.
Oh wow!
Right in the football stadium where the Philadelphia Eagles play, Lincoln Financial Field. So I'm a Giants fan. I felt dirty, like I'm in enemy territory.
I didn't wear any Giants gear.
No. I wore. What did I wear? Oh, I think I wore either a Colorado shirt, like just Colorado, the state in general, or Frampton Comes Alive.
Nice.
Actually, no. I have to look back on my phone. I'm not going to do that right now. My phone's over there charging. Squirrel, brain, chipmunk. But it might have also been. God, I'm really. So my long-term memory is actually better than my short-term memory. It might have been a psychedelic Jimi Hendrix shirt. Either way, all good options and better than wearing a Giants jersey or a Yankees jersey or a Red Sox jersey. Yeah. But it was cool. Free tickets right in the end zone of the football field. Like basically 20 feet from Adam Clayton, the bass player of U2 and the Lumineers. Wow. It's freaking awesome. And the Lumineers were also like, guys, just so you know, we love playing music in front of you. You're the largest audience we ever played in front of. 50,000 people. Thank you, guys. So that was like history for the Lumineers.
That's awesome.
That's goals for us, by the way, too. Yeah.
Dude,
it's like Noah Kahn is like blowing up and played all these huge shows.
And I'll tell you what, his music is really cool. He's grown on me, man.
Yeah.
And
Same here.
did shows at the Skunk Hollow in Heartland also, too, like we've talked about. He put in his time, and he's still relatively young, like 29 or 30. I don't even think he's 30.
Yeah. We cover a few of his songs.
Yeah.
They're always great ones for sing-alongs. People always look forward to that. So
take us through the take us through the songwriting process for you guys. Like, how often do you practice? Like, get together and
Well, we've practiced more now than we probably ever have. I would say we've really been, trying to devote some business time because usually we'll just kind of show up
for gigs.
Yeah. And
we would practice on stage with an audience.
That's the real practice right there. Yeah.
It's very organic though. Like all this, like most of our arrangements of, especially the traditional, songs, and then also the more contemporary or popular songs. I don't think we would have, if we had sat down and said, hey, we're going to arrange this song now, we wouldn't have come up with what we did come up with in a completely live, organic, just drawing from our instincts in the moment.
Just the energy of what was there.
So I think we've tried to like bring that into the process of writing songs. Or like,
Do you ever have moments where you're practicing songs like not in gig settings, but then you put the song away like it's not complete, but then you're in the middle of a live show and you're like, hey, you want to give that a try? What we like did, like you've never done it before live, but you're just like, hey, you want to just give that a shot? Because the audience is feeling it. Yeah.
Or we've been like, oh, we've done this before, let's do it, and then we do it, and it's like awesome, and we're like, we never did that before. That's our favorite.
Yeah. And that's why you semi-take behind closed doors and closed curtains practices not so seriously, because it's like, okay, we got this down, right? Okay, let's rehearse this part 5 more times. Then you do it live, and it sounds nothing like what you did.
It is like that. But with these two tunes that we had, I had a Capsize. That song Capsize, I really thought just went well to RambleTree, and then so I was kind of doing that, and then you had Green Mountain Light Show words that we put chords to, and I was really great. It was really awesome how it turned out.
Yeah, both of those, you wrote Capsize and the lyrics, and I wrote Green Mountain Light Show lyrics. And I think both of those songs were inspired by like our environment. So I'd love to hear your story about your inspiration for Capsize again, but I know you're like a boat. You're into boats. Green Mountain Light Show, we were playing, a couple years ago at the Last Run Lounge in Pico, and looking out, there's this big window behind the stage area.
Yeah, I love that
see people
place.
come down the hill, and the light, just the light was like crazy. And Dan's like, check this out, man. And I'm looking like, it's like a light show. And then that just kind of stewed for like a year or two. And I think it was like several months between the idea for the song, writing down a verse, coming up with a chorus. I think the bridge came like within the last couple of days of writing the song. but it was definitely like completely inspired by Vermont and the mountains. And
I'm curious either of you guys. I'm curious either of your guys' perspective, because I asked this to a lot of the musicians that have been on here so far. What comes more naturally for you when it comes to writing a song? Is it putting it together on your instrument, like whether it's beats or a chorus and a bridge, or is it coming up with the lyrics first?
I think it just depends, and you know the same way, right? You get some great chord progression, and then you're like, this all of a sudden draws these words into its vortex of of melody or whatnot, and then but then there's also where I have these lines in my head, and I have to find where they fit, and it's kind of like how Green Mountain Light Show was. You had a idea for it, and then then we get to create like that, or channel creation. It's more like that. It's not like we're not doing it. We're the conduit. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Try to get out of the way.
It's probably the nature of the beast. But do either of you go through writer's block every once in a while? Like,
yeah, for sure, and especially this too, because I make my money playing covers, and I absolutely love it. So then I don't always get to devote the time songwriting that I'd like to sometimes, because I love covering other music. Like that's really,
and life gets busy also too.
So, but when I feel like I get in a kind of like a run of tunes, or it's nice. You know what I mean? Because it's another side of expression, and as you know, people request original music.
They do,
often.
especially up here in Vermont. Vermont's very keen on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really nice to be able to throw that out. And
some places you can only play original music.
That's
because
right.
Of the
sometimes the managers,
music mafia,
the manager or the owner specifically say we only want original music, which is kind of a humbling feeling for us.
Yeah.
It's
also a licensing thing, though.
Well,
which is a problem.
That's true, also too. I actually, I chatted with Jan and Mike Sheehy from the Milk House Heaters about that yesterday, as a matter of fact. How sometimes the licensing companies, they pay attention to an Instagram or a Facebook post, and then they do the research on the place and be like, "Oh, you don't pay licensing." Naughty. It's weird, man.
It is weird.
It's weird. It's also like the part of the music industry where if you play in certain big city areas like Boston or New York City, or even like parts of like New Hampshire, it's like, oh, you can't play within like 5 miles of this place. No, if we see you playing here, it's
exclusivity.
But that's a conversation for another time. Speaking of our neck of the woods here, we have a lot of talented cats in these parts, man. There's a lot of talented, supportive cats in this part of Vermont.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's just I've been blown away since I moved up here. And then just the way they come at it at a different way. It's just like there's tunes that were popular up here that I had never heard down in Jersey or the area, and then.
Or how big the Grateful Dead has a presence up here in general, everywhere.
Just that vibe, that, but and everybody's so cool too. Like that's another thing. We've discussed this too. Everybody's super supportive. Anybody needs gear. Anybody needs a ride. Anybody, you know what I mean? And that's the way it should be, because
about your brother and sister.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what, and I think you've posted it too before, where it's like, I want you to win too, because we're not in competition. You know what I mean? And that's really true. It's like we all want this whole thing to elevate. So
it's been the model of this podcast so far. Like the reason I called it the Tasty Twist is because tasty and twist are kind of play on words with musicians. Like you play a fun line, or you lay down a groovy beat, I go, oh man, that was tasty. Or like, and then you throw in like a weird twist to like the chorus. That's right. And then tasty and twist could be like ice cream, because it's a twist, and it's a play on words with that. We make our living in the restaurant industry, so everyone is kind of involved in this vicious cycle of insanity that we call customer service, that we keep fine crafting year after year, after show, after week, after month, after hour, after minute. So we all should want to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's key. Like one thing I learned from you was I came into music in a very specific type of scene, like Irish and Irish traditional, and playing in Irish bands in Boston, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. And then one thing that was really awesome when I started playing with you is you would always shout out whoever was working the bar, the kitchen staff, the server who was busting their butt, who might have been on their third or fourth shift that in that like
their seventh
period.
double in a row, and
and like,
sleeping in my car.
Definitely,
it's true though.
Right.
Yeah,
the Irish bar thing is definitely family, like your family with everyone too. But like when I moved to Vermont, I was still kind of like getting used to everything, and it was really cool how like I don't ski or board or anything like that. So
blasphemy!
I know. But it was Dan like really made me feel more comfortable in that environment where I felt kind of like an outsider. And then you're like, no, this is a family too, you know?
Yeah.
So,
no, honestly,
really
Ray,
cool.
once you warm up to those people, the diehards, especially Killington, dude, you're in, man. You have nothing to worry about. The umbrella bar is a perfect example, by the way. It's 70 degrees. Everybody's shorts and t-shirts.
Was there some dude walking around in a kilt or something, or a Viking helmet, or
Birdman?
Birdman. Yeah.
Shout out to Birdman.
Shout out to Birdman.
What was he wearing?
A turkey mascot.
Yeah, he wears like a big like hawk headdress and stuff.
Oh, I'm thinking there's some other dude had a kilt on that.
That's
day.
it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a crew of people. Shout out to all these wonderful people too that ski out down in your neck of the woods. I don't know. I forget what part of New Jersey, but there's an indoor skiing facility, Big Snow, not that far from MetLife Stadium and the GW Bridge and everything. But I think majority of those people that I'm referring to, I've kept up on those Facebook pages, but. They wear their ski outfit, but they've also got like swim floaties. Like, dude, it's a scene, man. There's people that are literally just in like thongs and bikinis, like on the one, and then they put on their boots and their snowboards. So hey, maybe someday we'll get you to hop on board with that mentally. I have no idea.
I'll have to get some like some RambleTree like bikini bottoms or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. In a way, though, guys, these types of gigs, this is something like I always tell people, like especially working at a ski resort also, too, is mentally sometimes, especially like when you're skiing and snowboarding out with people that know you or know Dan Brown, like, hey, you're a musician. Where are you playing today? Where are you playing tonight? You know, where can we find your music online? Even verbal conversations like that on a chairlift are part of the job. Yeah. That's part of the job, like letting people know, like, and the social media posts, which that's a monster in and of itself in full time. Face-to-face communication, man. You're the showman. You're the entertainer. You're always on the clock. Your brain is never actually not functioning to some degree.
Right. Exactly.
No matter how hard you try.
I can't tell you a couple of times, like some people have like gone skiing out west, and they'll be at like Alta or Snowbird, for example, and they send me a picture via Facebook Messenger, and it's my sticker in the tram of Snowbird. I'm like, nice. Jesus, I can't get away from any of this.
That's why you make stickers.
Yeah.
That's why you do it right
there. Shift of gear. How has business been for you with your day job?
Good. So it's a similar thing where it just your brain is always going. You never stop. It's really challenging. So the day job, I guess if you want to call it, is having this Celtic art and design brand. It's all original designs. They all start out as hand-drawn things.
That's cool.
No AI or I do graphic design work to get things ready to print and then do the printing. But it comes and goes. Sometimes it's booming and sometimes it's slow. I do a lot of live events like the Vermont Renaissance Fair. Yeah. It wasn't Stowe until this past year. It's at the Champlain Valley Expo up in Essex Junction.
Right.
That's a great organization. They do lots of like fantasy and sci-fi.
Oh yeah,
They just had a steampunk show.
Is that in the outdoor field?
It's usually indoors.
Oh, indoors.
That way they don't have to worry about the weather.
But have they done like in that big open field, like where you can hold like a bunch of people?
So the Ren Fair in past years has been at the athletic field in Stowe.
Okay.
This past year it was at the Expo, and it was supposed to be outside, and then the weather just. So Jeff, the coordinator of the whole thing, just said, all right, let's figure out how to move this huge, I'm talking like 100 vendors and like 10 performers and bands, and they just like moved everything indoors. So I do a lot of that. I do Bristol, I do Harvest Fest and little small town, like you set up your 10 by 10, 10. I've got tables with all my shirts and my artwork and stuff. So,
do you bring like heat press printing machines with you? Like,
not with me. The heat press stays in the studio.
Right.
I have a special printer that creates these really nice. It's not heat transfer vinyl.
Is it sublimation?
No, it's called laser toner transfer printing.
In case you're wondering why I'm asking all these questions, my day job back in Connecticut was a sporting goods business that had heat press machines, screen printing, and embroidery.
Yeah.
So my old job nerdiness is actually coming out as far as
That's
the
cool.
questions. Yeah. But I was going to ask, what's your primary clientele? You would say, like a type of clientele for business?
Yes, it's usually people at craft fair type things,
right?
And then people come to the pub to see the show. That's why we renamed the band. So we went as the County Down for 10 years. I had this brand, RambleTree, and then we got in this big conversation like, Dan, I think we should just name it all RambleTree.
Right.
And then instant merch line, you know?
Yeah. From the legality, is that why it's like a longer name on Facebook?
No, that is because for months I've been trying to for the longest time.
Because it says the music by your name.
So for the longest time, RambleTree was kind of separate from the band. But I do, like all of us, we do music with lots of different people.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So it was called RambleTree Art and Music by Reagh Greenleaf Jr. When we decided to do the name change, you know how Facebook is. You're trying to like, hey, can I do a name change? So I've been in like support chats and and
then AI gets involved. So
I haven't been able. It should just say RambleTree,
right?
But now it still says Art and Music by Reagh Greenleaf Jr. So, but
there's a whole store. He's got an online store.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the store is if you guys want to do made in Vermont, original design, printed by me in my studio, holiday gifts. RambleTree.net is the online store. They're hoodies, t-shirts, art prints, stickers, all that stuff. I print all that stuff. And then the music is RambleTree.band. So those two songs, the two songs we did today so far, Green Mountain Light Show and Capsize, are on there.
And can folks find your music, both of you guys together, on like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iTunes? Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
So actually, there's a thing down here.
There we go.
If you all can get that QR code on your, as you're watching this, you can hold your phone up to the screen.
Yeah. You guys have plans of going into the studio again anytime soon to record?
Not direct plans, just
because winter's here.
The winter starts.
Winter starts. Yeah.
Usually they're shoulder season projects. You know
Yeah.
But we have discussed that. We have discussed rather do it sooner than later, and so because we really like the process, and it's fun to release those songs and to play them live. You know, so it's just we just love it.
You got a bunch of solo stuff too, right? Out there in the wild. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff out there, and then we also have a bunch of recordings from when we were the County Down that are still out there as well. So we've got a whole bunch of recordings of that. So.
How is it for you mentally shifting from like solo to duo to like full band? Because you've got an eclectic mix as far as your history of who you've played with and collaborated with.
Yeah, well, I often say that I wouldn't want it any other way, because if I had to play every gig solo or every gig band or every gig this, then I really love the variety, and it's like I can go from a 4-piece jam band to an Irish duo in half an hour, and it's just great, musically, just to really challenge yourself, you know what I mean? So I just love that, you know what I mean? I just love the varying and the different players. I love playing with different guys and girls, and it's just awesome. So
I love when we did that Umbrella Bar gig, and like every time I would do something like or just like a weird wild line, I hear you go, oh
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you do some ripping line, man.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, between you, Paluto, and Nick with the octave like playing in between also too, with all of us just sharing collaboration, like, okay, whose octave pedal is cooler?
And I will say that like not everybody can do that. If you told 5 solo artists or whatever that they had to all play together, probably 3 of them would be like, no. You know what I mean? So it's like I really love that how everybody's we just and that's all part of it.
Jamming is definitely like a the skill. That's an interesting thing in the Irish traditional music is you can have amazing players, and a lot of them, because they're so dialed into that specific music form, if you ask them to jam or rip a solo on something, they're like, they could be like champion musicians. You know?
Oh yeah.
Just,
funny story you mentioned that. So my dad is a lefty bass player, and years before me and my sister, he used to play in a blues band back in Connecticut. I think it was called Cold Shot, Stevie Ray Vaughan reference, or Blue Garage. And one time they had this world-renowned classically trained pianist. Like, he won like a bunch of different awards like years ago, this and that. Could read every site, like sheet music, like everything that you put in front of him. He can do it like boom, boom, boom. Yes, got it. Chords, left hand, the lines, right hand, everything. All the suites, the melodies, like the transitions, progressions, you name it. When it came to just simply jamming, like on the fly, he could not do it. This is what my dad told me. He goes, he could not do it. A 1-4-5 blues, like just random jamming, couldn't do it, man. It's strange, and I don't know if this is like a philosophical or psychology portion that we can like get into, but it's weird how some can do it and some can't. Like, I'm not going to lie. I graduated with a music degree. I don't know how I did, because I'm awful at sight reading. I can do it like very beginner, basic level still. Yeah. But I also think, I don't know, this is a tough thing to say. The money's to be had in music with playing by ear and improvising. It's a bold statement, but
I think in our settings for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean, I even guys have lyrics, and that's cool. You know what I mean? You have a look at lyrics, but yeah, I mean, I just think it's like, again, not everybody can do it. Not everybody can improvise. Not everybody feels comfortable doing that. And, I don't fault anybody, because I could not. There are people that can sit and read a whole page, and I couldn't do that, easily.
A lot of the times I mentally then go to the place, Dan and Ray, of, hey, I'm just happy that the other guys are showing up, that they're just doing their thing, whatever it is that they do well.
Yeah.
They showed up and they're doing their thing, which, now, segue, so parents and life and everything. Are you ever in a situation where you have or make time to go out and just be a patron to other musicians doing their thing?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah. No, I know. I know. Yeah,
I definitely try, and as you know, it's hard to not sit in.
Yeah. It's all of a sudden you can't not sit in. Yeah.
Or you want them to invite you up, and you're like, oh, I could totally rock this.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I actually have a different mindset, and I should be better at this. But most of the time, like when I'm doing my own thing solo acoustic wise, I actually, like, if I see like a Nick Breedice or a Zach Yukaitis or a Dan Brown or any of you guys like out in the audience, I actually want you guys to just chill and like I'll do my thing. And I know maybe sometimes it'll like feel selfish, but I kind of just I'm in the zone, and I have like an idea of the zone, and also I would want you guys to just chill and just be a patron. Sometimes putting the musicians on the spot, like I've seen some guys be like, no, Sammy, we're cool. Like, no, we're good. We want to like hang out and everything. And I think that's a respect thing. I don't want to say it's like respecting the boundaries, but I think it's important to respect the guys. Like, they still want to come out and see you, but it's also now their time off.
Yeah,
maybe they just did it.
I want to chill, and I want to hear what you're doing. I want to, because we're learning all the time, right? Andy Pryor really got me into that, Silas, because he's a proponent of.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Andy Pryor wherever you're at.
Yeah,
He's
Silas.
local.
Silas.
But he would always go out and like he would hit everybody's act either on his way to his gig or on the way back, and I just always thought that was so awesome.
Yeah,
and,
I credit Silas.
Community,
I credit Silas to that also too, man. Seriously, man. And you're also the only guy that I know that has done 5 gigs in one day. I think he played. I'm pretty sure, Silas, if you hear this someday down the road, I'm pretty sure, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. It was every Salt Hill pub in New Hampshire for St. Patty's Day.
That's St. Patrick's Day is when you do the string. Yeah.
One of my crowning moments.
I miss Silas.
I
haven't seen him in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Miss you, buddy.
Actually, is he traveling the world quite a bit now and everything that we know?
I'm not sure. I know he's in town, this week or whatever. But that's I think he tours around and
Yeah.
graces us every once in a while.
One of the hardest working guys that I know in the area for sure, and a staple at Killarney's also as well too. Him and King Arthur Jr. holding down the fort for the late great Steve Audsley at the open mic that you're going to later on tonight.
That's the Mondays, I think.
That's Mondays, right? Yeah. But crowning moment I had with Silas years ago, I was actually working in the restaurant industry at Killarney's. I was a doorman and also like a busser of tables for 3 months, like just pick up some more money, learn a little bit here and there. Well, one day it was a Saturday, and I got let go early at Killarney's from my shift for running the door and everything, and Silas was playing. He started at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and he didn't stop playing, I think, until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I jammed probably, I'm trying to remember, I think I jammed at least a good 2.5, 3 hours of that time. Okay. But after I left, he was still going another 3 hours, slept in his van in the parking lot. Yeah, true road warrior, man. Yeah.
I think it's probably, I think this of Dan sometimes and a lot of you guys that play a million gigs, it's probably harder not to play, if I'm going to be awake, I might as well just be doing it, so.
It is,
yeah. How do you guys like Vermont in general? Just the whole vibe, arts, entertainment, everything, life up here in the Green Mountain State?
I just love it, man. I absolutely love it. That's why, I had mentioned that to you earlier, is like, I would always love to tour and do all that, and that would be really great. But like we get to play music in our favorite places, and even us recently, we were able to get into some new rooms, like Red Clover Ale and Sister Wicked in Brandon, and
South Mountain Tavern,
South Mountain Tavern in Bristol, and it's like, these places are just so awesome. And if I had to be in like Wisconsin or Nebraska or something, it'd kind of be a drag for me. But it's like,
have you done gigs out that far? Or?
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like I like to be here, and it's I'd much rather do this and play gigs where it means so much to us. What I mean? Just like.
Have you traveled besides back and forth New Jersey and Vermont? Have you traveled very far in the country for a gig?
No,
Furthest.
not really. I mean, I've traveled, cross country for gigs, apparently, back in the day when we would try to, do original things like that, because I lived in LA for a little while.
Did you?
So
I
back and
forget
forth,
that,
and tried music out there for a little while.
Yeah.
But
have either of you visited most of the states in the country?
I did. For years before I was doing much in the way of music, I worked on the Renaissance Fair circuit.
Oh, wow.
I was actually a road manager for a family of silver workers, the Tanbergs. They were based in San Diego. But
oh, wow.
The U.S. Ren Fair circuit is this huge thing. There's now there are like TV shows about it and stuff.
Right.
So I went to most states east of the Rockies in that, and we were in each place for a month or two.
Gotcha.
Setting up a shop and selling, and my lord and my lady. And, but the fun part for that is a lot of them you'd stay in a campground, and there would be these big jams with all of the bards and musicians and stuff. Yeah. Big campfire jams, once the weekend, Sunday night, the weekend's over. Mm-hmm. Everybody goes and drinks and smokes and whatever. And that's where I learned to play what I do know of djembe. I don't have any like traditional West African training per se, but there were a lot of musicians on the Ren Fair circuit who were trained.
Why don't you show us a little something
and studied.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't even know. I'm going to embarrass myself on this drum.
Yeah, Dan and I are holding our guitars. You might as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a djembe. This is not a traditionally made one, but it was made in Vermont. Everybody's Drumming, I think, is the company.
Where are they based out of?
I feel like maybe in this area somewhere. I got this several years ago at B Music.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they
under new ownership, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shout out to Brian Hobbs. Thanks for all your years helping us out, man.
Wow.
I'm tired,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this drum, I don't play traditional African style. I play hippie jam style. But you have, your basic, your bass, your tone, and your slap. And then I'm so dominant playing the bowron with my right hand. So I'm mostly I'm doing most stuff with my right hand. A true djembe player would be balanced with both hands, for sure. But,
Do that again. I want to see if the audience can pick up on this Grateful Dead song. Here we go. Bonus points when this comes out for those that can figure out that song right there. Yeah.
So it's like, yes, the jam.
Yeah.
Jam-ish.
Cool.
So that's the djembe, but that's not my main instrument.
That's awesome.
I did that so I could play. I got into, you talk about traveling around. So my original stomping grounds were New Hampshire. I grew up in southern New Hampshire, Seacoast, UNH.
Yeah.
Big Irish music scene out there, maritime music.
Yeah.
So Boston, Rhode Island, southern Maine. And I played in this band, Tom Lanigan Band, this guy from Dublin who sadly, God rest him, died a few years ago. But the cool thing, we've been talking about this, how in the Irish music world, when you hang out with people who are from Ireland, not like fake Irish people like me, they don't necessarily love Irish music. They want to hear, like my buddy Tom Lanigan, he would do Whiskey in the Jar and Fields of Athenry and all that stuff.
Is it just because they hear it all the time? Is that why?
Yeah, probably. I think it's kind of like for us growing up, you're like, who wants to sing Yankee Doodle? Like it's just so.
Why was he riding on a pony?
Right,
It could have
I
been
know.
a zebra,
Yeah.
or a donkey. Yeah.
But for like Tom and a lot of the Irish folks I knew, they wanted to play Grateful Dead and Johnny Cash and Bob Marley and like Pink Floyd and Radiohead and like
all good
all that
suggestions,
stuff.
by the way. Yeah.
So that's why I was coming from like, hey, I'm American of Irish heritage and I want to be all like more Irish than Irish. So got really into the traditional stuff. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And then hanging out with my Irish buddies, they wanted to play jam band music. So I started messing around with the djembe. And when we play at O'Dwyer's, when there's Irish folks in the room, they love the not Irish music. Yeah. So it's fun to put it all together.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah. I mean, you can make it your own thing.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we know famous bands like Green Sky Bluegrass, for example. They bluegrass Pink Floyd music. So anybody can Irishify or Celticify any famous song that everybody knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's the power also, too, of the internet and how everybody's making remakes of everything. And also collaborating, too. I mean, because we've been throwing out some big name bands out there. I mean, for example, like Billy Strings is playing with everybody nowadays. It's inspiring to see. And a lot of that is not just from, hey, we're exposed on the scene nationally, but everybody's connected on their phones. Like everybody's reaching out to each other that
absolutely.
way.
Right. And good music is good music, and it doesn't matter what genre or if it's your song or his song or good music is good music.
Yeah, well, and also some of the oldest genres of music like classical and Irish or jazz, they paved the way for blues, classic rock, jam band, reggae. It all like is intertwined to some degree.
Right. Yeah, that's why we're all in the pub singing every night, right? This is how it happened. Us doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So are you both trained naturally, or did you take lessons respectively with your instruments?
I took just some guitar lessons growing up, but I didn't go to school for music. I didn't go to college for music. I went for psychology. So now I get to learn this stuff.
And you went to school for skiing and snowboarding too.
Yeah. Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's funny. I took keyboard lessons. Thanks, Mom and Dad. From like age 9 to 11 or something, and then promptly forgot all of it. But I think I developed like an ear in a sense through that.
Yeah.
Sang in the shower and out in the woods all through my young adult life. Mm-hmm. Mostly like, Iron Maiden and Manowar and all that stuff. And then I was like, kind of from there I got into like Zeppelin, and that was my gateway to folk music.
Yeah.
And then connected with my Irish heritage. the Bowron, at the time, you couldn't take lessons for it. You had to go to a pub and find some person who already knew how to play and sit down and maybe you buy them a pint, or maybe they see how crappy you're playing and they'll be like, try this.
Let me make a suggestion.
The Bowron is a much aligned instrument because anybody can pick it up and make a noise, right? Unlike something like a fiddle. Pick up a fiddle.
It's got a tone to it. Yeah.
So the thing I learned right away was that you don't just go into a session and start wailing away on the Bowron because you're drowning out all the lead melody players, which is most of the music.
Right.
So a lot of very patient musicians who played Bowron gave me a lot of pointers and reined me in.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be like, metal. And they're like, no, you got to learn what the tunes do. Here's what the melodies do.
Dynamics and everything.
You have to follow the melody. Yeah. You have to learn the basics of the rhythm. So I feel like I was pub schooled. We joke about pub schooling, but going to sessions and getting it, directly from, because it's such a traditional, weird instrument that now there are tutorials and lessons you can take, and there are teachers, but
and everything's on YouTube also.
Yeah,
too. I mean, you can find it's
20 plus years ago there was not that.
Yeah. I saw this video recently of the late great Phil Lesh. Shout out to the Grateful Dead and Phil. I forget who it was. It might have been like Dan Rather or one of the big interviewers on the on the television networks. But Phil gave specific advice about listening is the most important thing you can do, like on stage, solo or with a band. Like just listen, especially in a band. Listen to what the guitar player's doing. Listen to what the drummer's doing. And this is one of the most important bass players of recent memory, like saying this. Listen to the singer. Just listen. Yeah. I think it's a very important tool. Also with interviewing as well too. It's a very important tool. And so I think we all, just throughout the course of life, we all have moments where we forget to listen. And the more I think that we can do that, which is why I loved playing with the six of us at the Umbrella Bar. I thought all of us were doing a very good job of listening and respecting each other's craft.
Right. Yeah, if you go in and you just play what you want to play, you're just plowing.
It's not
over
making the music
else.
sound good.
You have to create space.
Absolutely,
for other people,
How a couple of final questions for you guys on the episode. How important do you both feel that it is to keep live music going in life as long as humanly possible?
The most important.
Yeah. Because it's soul inspiring for everybody, us included.
Yeah, it is, and I'm so thrilled that we get to do this at a time where there's live music everywhere, and and more, every day. It's really awesome, and just to see people out in the rooms and just how happy they are, and it's part of their vacation. You've heard that, I'm sure, many times. Where it's like, I didn't have my vacation until I came saw you play. And that is really awesome.
And they remember that for years. And they remember that for years. Not just through a picture, they remember it up here all the time too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I keep getting back to, playing where it really means a lot. You know what I mean? It's just it's really personal. We talk to these people, we hang out with them, and
you become family with them, friends and family. Yeah.
I got something I'd love to add to that too.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
We played at Two Brothers Tavern.
Middlebury, right?
First Wednesday's Irish night.
In Middlebury, right? Yeah, shout out to those guys. Great spot, yeah.
First Wednesday of every month. So that was the day after the election. And there were a lot of big feelings that everyone was having. And we were chatting and talking about the importance of live music. And we were talking about, we just, whatever your feelings are, we're going to just keep pouring our heart into our music and art, because that is something when you're playing live and you're connecting with people in the room, you're connecting directly with them from something that's different than, your analytical thought or your bias or your agenda or your perspective. You can connect through the art form, and that sort of cuts through all that stuff. And that's to me, that's like,
in a good way, makes you forget about
Yeah.
everything else for a while.
Right.
That's a great. That's a
Right.
great
It's a
point,
deeper
right?
connection. It's a much deeper connection.
yeah,
Yeah.
and vitally important, especially when there are lots of big
Oh,
feelings.
absolutely. Yeah, a
Going
ton
on.
of big feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some in our control, some not in our control.
Right.
You guys have anybody else you want to give a special shout out to on this recording?
How about you, Ray?
Well, Meg and Lauren and Sally and all the good people of Bristol.
My lovely wife, Leanne,
yeah.
and my children,
Yeah.
Danny, Riley, and Kai.
Very nice. Also, Gypsy Reel.
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah.
hang with those guys tonight.
Yeah.
You had Graham on the show.
Yeah, Graham. Yeah,
So-
Graham and Tom Davison. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw Graham out that window.
Really?
I did.
Is he just a little high? Is he here? Oh my gosh! Wow.
What have you been-
He's following you.
What are you smoking?
Well, I have to give a special shout out on my end to Dan Brown once again for being the savior for today to make this episode still possible.
Anytime.
And shout out to the city of Rutland for having a Volkswagen dealership that helped me out. today
yeah.
and everything. Oh my goodness! Wow!
They tell me I was just mentioned.
Yeah!
Get in there.
You're the first episode bomb, my friend. We're still going. Yeah. Hey,
He's good for it.
and I have to say, on that note, guys, episode 36 has been a blast. Give it up for RambleTree, Ray, Dan, and now Grant Park. Yeah.
Thanks, Sammy. Thanks for doing this.
Shout out to the Killarney and Gypsy Reel every Thursday night, the Irish sessions and everything. Guys, Okemo Valley TV, Patrick, Rebecca, and I'm blanking on the next name. I'm sorry, Patrick, Caroline. Thank you. This has been another fabulous episode of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. I'm Sammy Blanchette. Check out all the episodes at OkemoValley.tv or my website, SammyBmusic.com. Guys, thanks. Peace.
Now, my darling.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. You can watch all the episodes of this podcast on Okemo Valley TV's YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. You can visit their website, OkemoValley.tv, consider downloading their mobile app, or watch them on live television via VTEL, channel 166 and 167, Comcast 1076 and 1086. Are you interested in supporting a local media station? Please consider becoming a member today. Visit OkemoValley.tv for more information.